Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the South and West Plans Panel. My name is Councillor Hannah Biffle, and I'll be chairing today's meeting. Could I remind everyone that today's meeting is being live streamed on the Leeds City Council YouTube channel so that the public can observe the meeting without needing to be present. South and West Plans Panel deals with applications from the south, north west and west of the city. The aim of the panel is to hear all the relevant information from applicants, members of the public and council officers to help members of the panel make their decision. Could I now invite members and officers to introduce themselves and mute your microphone once you've introduced yourself? And if we could start from my left, please.
Good afternoon, Rasha Koza, Planning Officer.
Andrew Crates, Principal Planning Officer.
Councillor Paul Ray from Huntly Riverside Ward.
Councillor John Garvani, Horsforth Ward.
Councillor Bromley, Horsforth Ward.
Afternoon, everyone. Councillor Ontree from Kirkstall Ward.
Good afternoon, Councillor Taylor from Chapel Allerton Ward.
Good afternoon, everyone. Councillor Kilamanaka, Beaumont Tufts Richmond Hill Ward.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Illingworth and I'm from the Plans Panel team.
Good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Lynn Buckley, Allwoodley Ward.
Good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Trish Smith, Pudsey Ward.
Hi, everyone. Natasha Prosser, Clerk to the panel.
Hello, Nikki Deol from Legal Services.
Good afternoon, Jonathan Carr, Head of Development Management.
Afternoon, Steve Butler, Group Manager for South and West Plans Panel and Lead Officer at the Plans Panel. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, and welcome. Moving to the agenda, can I ask the clerk to go through agenda items number 1 to 5, please?
Thanks, Chair. Agenda item 1, there's no appeals. Agenda item 2, no exempt items. Agenda item 3, no formal late items. Agenda item 4, members to declare interest. Thank you. Agenda item 5, apologies from Councillor Campbell. And then over to you, Chair.
Thank you. Item number 6, minutes of the previous meeting held on the 7th of March 2024. Do members accept these minutes as a true and correct record? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Chair. I accept that I wasn't at the last meeting and had a substitute in my place, but I have since watched the entire meeting through on the YouTube, and I do have a couple of points that I'd like to raise. I believe many of these have also been raised directly to planning and yourself as well, I believe. No, not you. Okay, just the planning officers then. I mean, there are quite a few, so I don't know whether you want me to go through them line by line or whether you would like me to group them. I'm happy to just group them.
It will be for members, obviously, to decide on them. Have you got copies for members to look at?
No, Chair, I don't. I can circulate them.
Yeah, because obviously members will need to if there's a number of them, unless you want to just pick the most pertinent 3 or 4, maybe.
Thank you, Chair. That's great. So I think the pertinent ones are about access and drainage. So there's one, the planning officer's comments on the options for the drainage issues are partially omitted. I accept these are minutes and it's not a verbatim, but I think that does need to be revisited and perhaps something added back in because there are significant drainage issues in that area. The panel's significant lack of support for design seems to miss the detail, including specific comments and recommendations. Even the Councillor Ray has made some comments, Councillor Carter and Councillor Campbell, and none of those seem to be recorded in the minutes. Very few specific requests from Plans Panel members appear to be recorded, and I think, you know, when it's when we're asking questions of panel, I think it's important that we try and capture their input as well, because that's the whole point of why we're here. And the reinstatement of the specific request by Chair Councillor Bithell about alternative highways layouts isn't minuted. So I do think that there seems to be an incorrect reporting covering the request by panel to review access and the highways comments. So I'll leave it at that because I don't want to bombard everybody, but I think they're the very, very key things. Thank you. So the drainage, the highways and the layout. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for being really succinct there. We would need to be able to vote on it, actual wording. Have you already got wording prepared that you're expecting the amendment to be, or would it be useful for us to take 5 minutes so that you can present it as specified wording back to the panel?
Yeah, if you could give me 5 minutes, Chair, thank you.
In which case, if we can just stop the recording or pause the meeting for a minute while that's pulled together, and then we'll come back with those 3 suggested amendments. Thank you, and thank you to anyone watching for bearing with us while we got some photocopying and whatnot done. I'm going to start by bringing in Nikki, our legal advisor, to make a couple of comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just within the intervening period, some draft suggested amendments have been circulated by Councillor Smith, just so that members are able to read those in full and understand what amendments are proposed. Councillor Smith is going to be making those representations now. But just as a matter of law, only plans panel members at this panel can make representations as to the accuracy of the minutes of the meeting that took place in the last cycle. And in order to make those amendments, Councillor Smith will talk through what is suggested, and they will need to be moved and voted on in order for an amendment to be agreed. So I just wanted to clarify that it is for members to agree those and move and second. And if there are any other questions arising, I'm happy to take those to assist. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, are you happy to speak to your amendments, please?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for everybody for the patience. Thank you to officers for assisting there. Throughout the minutes, it's widely recognised that the design as it stands isn't quite right, and panel members were very helpful in the minutes, highlighting several of these issues. The main ones are the design, the layout, and the highways issues. If we refer to page 15 of the minutes, on bullet point 3, 6 and 7, these are outlined there, and I think it would be useful to ensure that these are revisited. Then if we turn over to page 16 and bullet point 6, it's acknowledged that there are drainage issues with the site, which strengthens the points raised. Page 17, the entire second paragraph, starting to further to questions to officers, the following was confirmed. And again, it's highlighting issues with drainage, with access, layout, etc. And then finally on page 18, both the questions to members again highlights these 3 points very well. So I do think that it needs revisiting, and hopefully the design can be improved in line with what everybody wants to be a very, very strong and long-lived development. And thank you very much for your patience, everybody.
Okay, have we got a seconder for those amendments? Okay, Councillor Ray, thank you. Are we all comfortable with what we're voting on? Okay, in which case, in which case we'll go to the vote. All those in favour of the suggested amendments? Unanimous. Oh, and me. Okay, thank you. In which case, we will move on. Oh, any matters arising? Suppose that kind of covers it, doesn't it? All right, so we'll move on to item number 7, which is 5 Farrer Lane, Alton. Could I ask the officer to please present the application?
Good afternoon. This application has been brought to Plans Panel as it is submitted in a personal capacity on behalf of a Rothwell ward member. The applicant seeks permission for part 2-story, part single-story side and rear extension. Single-story extension to existing outbuilding to rear. Amendments to fenestration and associated landscape work. The application site is located on Farrer Lane within the Alton Conservation Area. To the west of the application site is the private garden of the application site. To the northwest of the site, there is an area of amenity space serving the flat above neighboring public house, the New Masons Arms. The space is fenced and gated and is separated from the pub premises by a customer car park and beer garden. There is another water course which is located beyond the northmost boundary of the application site before flowing into Alton Beck. The garden area to number 30 Aberford Road is extensive, bisected by Alton Beck, with a significant wooded area existing between the beck and the application site. The application site is one of pair of two-story semi-detached houses constructed in red brick and has render and mock Tudor cladding to the first floor level at the front, with an overhanging roof. The property lies within mature gardens which extended to 3 sides. This is a view of the side elevation with the existing conservatory. Another view for the existing side conservatory. Rear elevation shows the existing 2-story rear gable with the outbuilding and boundary to the north. That's a view from the application side garden, which overlook the amenity space of the flat above the pub. Another closer view to the boundary shared with that amenity space. This is the view from that amenity space showing the application side, the rear of the application site. Existing outbuilding of the site. Another view for the outbuilding with the north rear boundaries. Existing ground floor plan. Existing first floor plan. Existing front and rear elevations. Existing side elevations. Proposed ground floor plan. Walls colored in blue refer to where extensions are taking places. The side extension replacing the existing site conservatory with a new single-story extension, which would project by 1.3 meter from the side elevation and would measure 6.3 meter in width with a maximum height of 3.4 meter. To the rear 2-story rear extension, which would extend the existing rear 2-story gable by 1.4 meter and would maintain the existing height of the roof ridge. Side extension of the existing outbuilding would project by 1.5 meter to the side and would be 3.4 meter in depth. Proposed first floor extension, where extension to the rear is taking place. Proposed front and rear elevation. There will be no changes to the front. To the rear, there will be a replacement of the sliding doors with outward opening French doors and the replacement of existing steps to the rear elevation with a platform and steps down into the garden. Proposed side elevations. We can see the side extension with the front and rear brick matching wall and glazing to the side, the extension to the outbuilding and the new inserted building to living area. In terms of character of the conservation area, I will go back to the ground floor, proposed ground floor. In terms of character of the conservation area, the proposed extensions are situated to the side and rear and are largely screened by tall trees and vegetation. It is considered that the proposal will have a very limited impact on the character of the street scene and surrounded conservation area. The 2-story rear extension is effectively a very modest continuation of the existing rear gable and is again to be finished in matching walling and roofing materials. The extension to the side of the outbuilding is also a relatively modest scale, occupying small part of the existing patio. As such, given the scale, size, and design of the proposed side rear extensions and extended outbuilding, the extensions and alterations are considered to be subservient. And the proposals are considered to preserve the character and appearance of the host dwelling and conservation area. In terms of amenity space of residential amenities, the proposed side extension replaces the conservatory and only has a modest projection into private garden area, retaining a distance of between 8 and 12 meters to the side boundary, which are less than existing conservatory. The new inserted windows to the side elevation at ground floor level would be screened by existing mature planting and boundaries. The extension to the outbuilding is also modest in scale and set away from boundary. With regard to the proposed two-story rear extension, it will only project 1.4 meter and retains a distance of approximately 3.6 meter from shared boundary with number 7, well within the parameter advised in the householder design guide. The proposed extension would be closer to the amenity space serving a flat above the pub. The proposed window would be 1.5 meter away from the rear elevation at its narrowest point. It should be noted that it is only marginally closer than the existing gable, which is just 2.5 meter away from rear boundary. I will just go back to the view, this view. Moreover, the window at first floor level would look straight above the roof of the covered sitting area of the amenity space. The context of the amenity space is also important, noting it serves a flat above the pub, but it is separated from the building by a car park and beer garden. A condition can be added to imposed to return the boundary treatment in front of the ground floor window serving a kitchen. Therefore, the proposal is not considered to give rise to any significant impacts than currently exist. Overall, it is considered that the proposed side rear extensions and the extended outbuilding would not have any greater impacts on neighboring amenity. In terms of highway and parking, the application site includes a minimum of 2 off-street car parking spaces, which will remain unaffected by the proposed extension, and as such, the proposal raises no issue in respect of highway safety. Finally, as assessed in the officer report, the proposal is considered to be acceptable in principle, will preserve the character and appearance of the conservation area, will not give rise to residential amenity harm. For this reason, the local planning authority recommends this application for approval. Thank you.
Thanks very much. There are no speakers here for or against the proposal. So in that case, we'll move on to questions for officers, please. Any members with any questions for officers? No? Okay, do members have any comments? Okay. Would somebody like to move the motion? Councillor Ray, thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Gavani. And in which case we'll move it to the vote. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. That leaves me with agenda item number 8, the date and time of next meeting, which is proposed as Thursday, the 6th of June at 1:30 p.m. And that concludes the business for today's meeting. Thank you for your attendance and contributions. And I now declare this meeting closed.